How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to your favorite weekly horoscope, this time for August 28th through, August 23rd through August 29th of 2021. My name is Cam White. Thank you guys so much for being here, liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. I truly love and appreciate, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you that watch this. I really hope you guys get a lot out of these horoscopes or at least enough that I put in. Does my volume sound better? I've had a lot of issues with my volume. I'm having so many technical issues right now trying to record this. But I know I've had a lot of volume issues with my microphone, which is funny because I literally never touched it before. But I think I fixed it. The audio quality isn't the best, I know that. But just let me know if you can hear me okay. And if this is fine now, let me know that in the comments below. Anyway, this week, let me go ahead and pull up the thingamajigger here. This week, we really don't have a lot going on. We kind of came off that full moon. You know, we had 2 full moons in Aquarius, so that was kind of a lot. But this week, we really just get to enjoy the Venus-Saturn trine starting the week off. But we also get to see a little bit behind the veil of certain things as Mercury conjoins Neptune. But anyway, we start the week off on Monday with Venus trining Saturn. Now, I know that was kind of a thing that really did come up more last week with the full moon on Sunday, but it really does continue into Monday. While we also get the moon going opposite Mercury and Mars, and the moon's going to be conjoining Neptune. So let me just go ahead and pull up the chart. So this is actually Thursday when I'm recording this. Let me move this forward. Yeah, I'm having a bunch of issues, technical issues with the Mercury-Mars conjunction, which has been super fun. I love having technical issues. It doesn't stress me out at all. August 23rd, Venus trine Saturn. Look, it's pretty much going to happen first thing in the morning, and I think this is going to last the whole day. Where can you connect and relate and build bridges where you can? With the people that you want to build bridges with. You don't got to build bridges with everybody. But Venus is in Libra. It's about connection. It's about harmony. There's rules to the game, right? There's you know, just because you like someone doesn't mean you can go, oh, I like you, and, you know, shove yourself in their face. Like, there's, you know, you have to be polite, you have to be charming, you have to be able to work with them. And that's kind of the nature of Venus and Libra, right? Venus and Libra has an upper hand with Saturn and Aquarius, because Saturn and Aquarius is like, no, if it doesn't match my, you know, ideology, if it doesn't match the framework that I put everything in, it's not going to work. But Venus and Libra is very charming, where Monday's a good, like, Venus and combating to get your idea across doesn't work. You know what I mean? No one listens to you if you're just going to like tell people that they're wrong about everything. Venus and Libra is like, if you lend out a olive branch, if you try to create a little bit of peace, if you try to, you know, smooth, what's the word? Like, not smooch, schmooze people. They can be a little bit more receptive to what you have to say and what you want to tell them. So Venus trine Saturn, you know, make the connections, try to choose peace before you choose violence. The moon's going to be going opposite Mars and Mercury, where the moon's in Pisces, coming off this full moon. I think Jupiter going into Pisces is probably one of the best like analogies or examples I can give for Pisces feelings, right? Like when Jupiter went into Pisces, there's this mushy, like I'm just trying to relax feeling. And as the moon's in Pisces coming off that full moon, there's this like, okay, we saw where we have to integrate things, and now the moon's in Pisces. Let's actually mingle and blend things together. But as the moon's going opposite Mars and Virgo, like not everything blends together. Like this is kind of like trying to blend oil and water. It doesn't really work all the way. And so the moon opposite Mars and Virgo is like, the moon in Pisces is like, can you just have fun? Can you just relax? And the Mars and Virgo is like, no, it's too hot, or it's too cold, or they said this, and it's too... Mercury and Mars and Virgo is just so overly picky, right? And so I think the moon being in Pisces, just trying to honestly relax, might put a little dampener in that. But then the moon's also going to be going opposite Mercury, where there's this kind of, you know, you can't blend water and oil. Like, that's the thing. Like, moon and Pisces, like, come on, water and oil, just blend together. Come on. And Mercury and Mars is like, that doesn't work. Like, we can't do that. So, and as the moon's also conjoining Neptune too, there's this kind of sense of confusion of where to be with things. This kind of like, you know, where are things kind of going? How do I feel? This is, you know, kind of romanticizing emotions. This is also kind of, you know, feeling really confused about how you feel, because Mercury and Mars are in Virgo, where as we kind of continue through the week, we'll bring up the Virgo Neptune stuff, well, on Tuesday. But I think as the moon's conjoining Neptune going opposite Mercury and Mars, there's this sense of realizing that you don't have the full picture. You don't have all the information that you thought you did. There is a seeing that you didn't cross all of your T's or dot all of your I's, or you didn't, check all of your blind spots. But I think as we start Monday, at least with the Venus trining Saturn and the moon in Pisces, try to enjoy what you can, like don't force anything you don't have to. But then we get into Tuesday, and on Tuesday, the 24th, the moon is going to ingress into Aries. That'll be fun. And Mercury is going to go opposite Neptune, which Mercury opposite Neptune, I talked about this last year for those who have stuck around for me since last year. Mercury opposite Neptune is like when you are at a magic show and you're watching the magician do his thing, and then you've got that dick of a friend who's like, oh, that's, and I'm sometimes this person too, which is funny. Like pointing out what's real and what's not, pointing out where the illusion is. Like Mercury in Virgo is like, Neptune and Pisces, where things are just super easy to confuse and to blur. And, people are so fucking vague nowadays. Neptune and Pisces is so like, it's easy to be vague and it's easy to have mysticism and woo. And Mercury in Virgo opposite Neptune is like, no, that's not right. No, that's just a trick. That's just an illusion. And it's pointing that out. And that's good. Like, I think we need more of that in this society, in this world. But as Mercury is going opposite Neptune, ask yourself, what are you, like, when you're watching a movie, like, can you see the movie magic? Like, when you're watching a movie and you could tell the dinosaur is CGI, or you can tell something is CGI, that's Mercury in Virgo opposite Neptune in Pisces. And with Mercury in Virgo, you're understanding things clear. Like Mercury rules our rational thoughts and our ideas and our communicate. You're expressing yourself more clearly. You're seeing things more clearly. And as Mercury goes opposite Neptune, that veil of illusion or that veil of mysticism really kind of dissipates. Nothing's as foggy as it was. And the moon ingresses into Aries on Tuesday, where there's this kind of blunt force attitude about stuff, right? The moon in Pisces is very passive and relaxed, and plus the moon will be waning. The moon will be decreasing in light while it's in Pisces. I mean, it'll be doing that till the new moon. But as the moon goes into Aries, this is much more of like, okay, I see the tricks now. Let's change that. And the moon in Aries is so confrontational. So like, I want to be direct. I want to be blunt. I want to be upfront. And as that, maybe on Monday when Mercury is applying to like on Monday, it's going to be like you see the trick and you see the illusion, but you don't say anything. But then Tuesday, you're going to be like, okay, I need to say something about this. I need to bring this up. I need to address this in some way. The moon's our emotions, and it's in Aries where it's like I need to emotionally invest myself into my actions. This is also, I think the moon in Aries is like, go and do something, go engage your body in some way to, express emotions, to get emotions out of yourself. But what I like about Tuesday is, again, like you got to really, Neptune in Pisces has been so, in my opinion, like this is the thing that's dividing America. This is the thing. I mean, it's what the last time Neptune it was in Pisces was the last time it divided America. And I know I'm speaking to my American followers here, but Neptune in Pisces rules the media and illusion. And it's just so easy to be fooled by so many different things. And Mercury in Virgo going opposite Neptune in Pisces is deciphering what is truth versus what is, false reality. What is fact? What is fiction? You know what I mean? And so there's going to be a lot of pointing things out and getting a little clear. And that's going to be good on one end. But I also would think for a lot of people too, like you don't have to point out every single thing that's wrong or fake or that's got a problem. Like when you see mutable placements, that's a lot of mental energy, and just sometimes it's better to turn that off. So, with Mercury in Virgo, like opposite Neptune in Pisces, if it's just too much for you, just check out. Just because you see the issue, it doesn't mean you have to say anything about it. But I think the moon's going to be in Aries. You will probably be a little bit more upset about it than usual. But I think you will see you will stop. The disenchantment really begins, I think, starting on Tuesday. We get into Wednesday, and on Wednesday, that's when the moon, while it's in Aries, is making that sextile to Saturn and going opposite Venus. Now, you've probably noticed, Cameron, you just highlighted the moon opposite Venus. What's so special about that? Bringing up the chart here as we go into Wednesday, as that moon's in Aries and, the moon being our emotions, how we feel on the inside. It's in Aries where maybe we're being more blunt about how we feel. We're being a little bit more aggressive with how we feel. We're being a little bit more confrontational with how we feel. It's going to be like on Chiron, but it's going to be opposite Venus in Libra, where like the moon in Aries. Have you ever had a have you ever, like, I deal with this all the time. Have you ever had a problem with someone that it really fucked you up? Like you were really upset, you were really hurt, and you were really scared to talk about it, but then you actually talked about it and the conversation went so much better than you ever thought it would, be? That's Wednesday. Like the moon in Aries is like, fuck, I'm mad, I'm stressed, I'm emotional, I don't know how to handle this, I don't know how this is gonna go, what are they gonna say, what if there's a fight? You're thinking of all these different arguments, but then you actually address it to Venus and Libra, and Venus and Libra is like, that's okay, like that's fine, yeah, we could work that out, we could change this, we could do that, and you're like, oh, that was easier than I thought. That's what Wednesday looks like. You know, and this is why I kind of brought up, on Tuesday, the Mercury opposite Neptune thing. Just because you see it doesn't mean you have to bring it up and ruin everyone's fun. Mercury conjoining Mars. Mercury's going to be conjoining Mars for a while. It is easy to voice your negative opinions. It is easy to let out the anger and the rage. Challenge yourself to be a little bit more peaceful. Like I'm so annoyed of the online culture of choosing the violence. And I know I've participated in that too, but it's just getting to this point where I don't know. Everyone's so fucking angry. It's just, I don't know. I think we should be a little bit nicer to each other. I'm trying to work on that too. I know it's something I need to work on. But I look at this moon in Aries opposite Venus in Libra. Like, as long as you are actually addressing the issue and you're not being passive about it, you can get the issue fixed. Don't be more of a dick than you need to be. Like, Venus is in Libra. You're going to be rewarded more for being nice than you are for being an asshole. Like, that's Venus in Libra. She's literally rewards and gifts and all of the fun, valuable stuff, right? And Venus in Libra, like, would you go up to a woman and be like, hey, woman, blah, 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 this is how I feel? Or would you be a little bit more nicer and a little bit more polite to try to, get people to actually listen to what you have to say? That's Wednesday. Be a little bit more polite, but also with the moon in Aries, be confrontive. Like, say what you got to say. You don't have to be a dick about it, but, say your piece is what I want to get to for Wednesday. We get into Thursday. I know I'm kind of going fast here. We get into Thursday. The moon's really just going to be sextiling Jupiter and making a square to Pluto. Not really that big of a deal. The rest of this week really isn't that big at all. But as the moon starts to get towards the end degrees of Aries, makes that square to Pluto and that sextile to Jupiter. With the moon squaring Pluto, there's this fear, there's this anxiety and this weight of having to confront a situation, having to talk about a situation. I mean, Mercury in Virgo is also trining Pluto at this time. I didn't write that down as a highlight because the trine to Pluto, I don't know, who cares? But the moon making that sextile to Jupiter is what catches my eye personally, because the moon's in Aries, we're being blunt, we're being confrontive, we're investing our emotions into our actions. And that sextile's Jupiter in Aquarius. It's like, Jupiter in Aquarius, what I love about Aquarius stuff is have you ever seen that video of the guy at some outdoor festival get up and start dancing weird by himself? And everyone's like, oh, that's weird. But then the second guy joins him. And then all of a sudden, the whole group a whole bunch of people join him to dance and act weird. That's Aquarius and Aries. Aquarius people are down to act weird, but they're not going to be the first ones to go and do it. They're like, no, I'm only going to do it if it's safe, if everyone else does it. I know Aquarius thinks that they're very unique and different, but I'm sorry, you guys literally just do everything that the crowd does. But the moon in Aries initiating that. The moon in Aries being like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to do it anyway. Sextiling Jupiter. If you just kind of confront something, if you try to just do it anyway, and you don't really worry about what people think about you or how you think you're going to be perceived, people will join you. I've had a lot of life lessons around the fact that it's, for example, I was in this personal development seminar, and I might have shared this story before. So sorry if this is annoying, but I was in this personal development seminar, which, you can have your opinions on those. I have a lot of opinions on it. But anyway, for me, it was good at that time. And for me, at the time, I was really, really poor. I had no money. I spent all my money on this. And so in the middle of this personal development seminar, this guy would say all of this type of, bullshit, right? And I would stand up and I would say, hey, you're saying if I do this, my life will change and blah, 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 blah. But then I would go, well, how does that apply to me? Because I don't get that. And for me, I was like, I'm going to get my dollars worth out of this fucking course, because I'll be damned if I just sit here and not ask the questions that, I want to ask. And I asked a lot of questions that made me look dumb. I didn't really care because that's just me, but it could have made me look dumb. Some people probably thought, one thing about me, but after that course was over, a lot of people would come up to me and say like, thank you for asking that question. And thank you for saying that, because I had that same question, but I was too afraid to ask it. And so I look at something like this where like, it's the same thing. This is Leo energy too. It's not about you. It's about other people seeing what you do and how they react to that, right? Like for me, I was just asking questions, but a lot of people were like, wow, I can't believe that kid asked those questions. And I'm glad he did, because those were the questions I had, and I was too scared to ask those questions. I was too scared to confront those things. And this moon in Aries sextiling Jupiter and Aquarius is like, don't be afraid to be blunt. Don't be afraid to just do it anyway, because you have no idea who's watching you, and you have no idea how much that's going to impact them, right? Like you being the bigger person in a situation is not about you being the bigger person. It's about you being the example for other people to be the bigger person. It's you showing that other people it's cool to be the bigger person. Like that's what I hate about people like taking low shots on shit, because it's like now you're making it okay for everyone else to be a dickhead. Like just because you're an asshole doesn't mean you should influence everyone else to be an asshole, right? And this is maybe you can influence people to be an asshole at this time. It's a two-way street. But I think on Thursday, like, just don't be afraid. Like if you've got a question, ask it. If you want to do something, do it. And it's again, life's not about you, right? Who in your life that you care about, that you have around you, that you want to inspire, that you want to help. Like it's not, this is the fun part about astrology. It's not always about you. It's sometimes it's about who's watching. It's about other people sometimes. And, there's thousands of people that watch these horoscopes. So you guys all have completely different lives and completely different experiences. But I think on Thursday, this is just one of those days where it's not the craziest day in the world, but it is one of those days where you could do a little tiny action that could have a big result at the end. So take with that what you will. We get to Friday. The moon ingresses into Taurus. Well, it kind of ingresses into Taurus later Thursday night, but pretty much Friday. It will square Saturn immediately. It will conjoin Uranus, but it will trine the sun. So that's kind of a lot, in my opinion, for the little old moon to go through. So let's look at Friday. Pretty much Thursday night, moon will go into Taurus. And the moon going into Taurus is supposed to like stabilize things. We're supposed to get really comfortable. We're supposed to feel good. We're supposed to slow down, take stock of things when the moon goes into Taurus, which we get about 5 seconds to do that, because then the moon immediately squares Saturn, where again, as much as we want to relax, you can't relax. You can't relax when everything's kind of up in the air. And this isn't to say like, don't take time off if you need it, but the moon squaring Saturn is like, everyone wants to take a break, right? But do you have the money to take the break? Do you have the luxury to relax at this moment? And I think as the moon squaring Saturn, there's this sense of like, how, if you can't pay your bills, if you are, for example, if you can't pay your bills, but you want to relax, like clearly there's a conflict of interest there. Like the moon and Taurus squaring Saturn and Aquarius is like, well, you might want to do something because you don't feel good and it's uncomfortable, but too fucking bad. You know what I mean? That's the moon square Saturn. There's this sense of like, you might want to get comfortable, but you're going to be a little bit uncomfortable. You're going to be pressured to do other things. And it's not always about relaxing and being comfortable. Sometimes and the moon is in Taurus. We have to find stability. Well, the moon is in Taurus where Uranus is in Taurus now. Stability ain't there. That sense of, solid ground is not there. We have to find a unique and inventive way to find that stability. We have to do things differently. Like we're 8 months into 2021. If you haven't realized, like truly, if you have not realized that everything that you used to do in the past doesn't work anymore. Like you're very far behind and you need to catch up to speed because the old way of doing things doesn't work in this world anymore. You could see that with, for one, the military industrial complex in Afghanistan. Clearly that shit don't fucking work anymore. And just like that, it got ripped apart. And just like that, you saw the Taliban, take it right over. There is no relaxing, right? There is no just, same old shit, different day. We're in different times. Things are changing. And I think too, on Friday, the moon is going to be conjoining Uranus. There's a sense of instability, a sense of volatility, a sense of insecurity. Uranus is now retrograde. Someone made a comment on my YouTube. I forgot to bring that up. Great point. Because usually I don't really care when Uranus stations retrograde, but it matters now with the Saturn-Uranus square, right? But as the moon conjoins Uranus, this is like, okay, in this unstable world, in this destabilizing time, where can you find the stability? And I think finding the stability requires ingenuity. You have to be creative. You have to think differently now. And the moon is trining the sun. Like the moon's in Taurus, sun's in Virgo. You can think of a solution, a pragmatic, realistic solution. There are solutions available to you at this time, but you have to be willing to go out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to do something different that you're not used to doing. The moon in Taurus, it's the moon in Taurus. The moon's exalted there. You love to be comfortable, and you have your buts and your excuses, but there's just I think on Friday there's a sense of like, how can you be comfortable and just be like, doing your own thing when everything in your world is kind of changing, right? And that's not going to be the case for everyone. I'm just kind of making a point here that the moon's going to square Saturn and conjoin Uranus. You're going to want to relax, but too bad. Ain't going to happen. You're going to have to do something that you don't want to do. You have responsibilities you have to take care of. And the moon's going to conjoin Uranus. You're not going to taking care of those responsibilities and handling your business ain't going to be the way that it used to be. You're going to it's going to be, unpredictable and volatile because we live in a crazy world right now. And you're going to have to figure out a way to get uncomfortable, to get out of your comfort zone, be ingenuitive, be creative to find that solution. Challenge yourself. I hate the society that we don't challenge ourselves. Like literally, you're literally growing or decaying. You can challenge yourself to push yourself to be a better version than you are. And you being a better version of yourself is going to inspire other people to be a better version of yourself. But you being a shittier version of yourself is only going to inspire and make it okay for everyone else to be a shittier version of themselves. So, as much as a lot of you, and I don't want to say a lot of you, actually I do want to say a lot of you, because a lot of people think that no one watches them or like they don't matter. And it's like, it's insane how much influence one individual has, even if you're not even on social media or you don't have a big friend group, like people are still watching you and you still inspire people regardless if you think that or not. Regardless if you don't think highly of yourself, people think highly of you. That's not your opinion to have. It's other people's opinion to have. And so again, are you inspiring people to be greater or are you inspiring people to be shittier? I think it says a lot about a person's character based off of that. Not necessarily, I get when people act angry and act shitty, but it's also because there's a reason, there's a rhyme and a reason for that. But I also think it says much more about them in the sense that they don't really see that other people are watching and they're making it okay. They're normalizing that behavior. And I just think that's sad. Anyway, I clearly have a lot of opinions today, so sorry if I'm not sorry, but anyway, we get to Saturday. If you're still watching this and you're still with me, I love you. We get to Saturday. And the moon's going to be making that trine to Mars, and it's going to be squaring Jupiter, where, again, we talk about integration. The moon trining Mars. Love that. It's like, okay, you can be creative. You can be ingenuitive. You can do something spontaneous, right? And the moon in Taurus trining Mars in Virgo. It's like when you line up all of those dominoes, it's so like when you line up all those dominoes in a nice line and then you get to just knock it all over. It's so rewarding, right? That the minuscule and the tedious task of lining the dominoes up ain't fun, and that's frustrating. But the sweet dopamine release of having all those dominoes fall over and all the little clicks and the clacks, that's why you do it, right? And that's the moon trining Mars here. Like, Mars and Virgo, you're doing meticulous, tedious work, and it's frustrating, it's annoying. But the moon and Taurus trining that Mars is receiving that reward for that hard work. The moon's going to trine Mars, which I like, but then as the night goes on, it's going to square Jupiter. Look, you can literally be perfect, and you're still going to have a group of people that will hate you. You could literally Jesus Christ was a lot. Well, that's a whole other fucking topic to get into. But let's just say, for example, Jesus Christ was alive and well and was the Messiah and was doing his thing. He still had haters. Most of Rome hated him. Most people hated him. So there's this sense of like, you can do all of these perfectionist things because that's the Mercury, Mars, and Virgo. You can do everything the right way. You can say the right words and act the right way and hang out with the right people. People are still going to hate you. The moon in Taurus, squaring Jupiter in Aquarius. You're still going to have critics. Not everyone's going to want to integrate with you. Not everyone's going to want to be your friend. And I think as the moon squaring Jupiter, you're going to have to like know that like, just because you got something good doesn't mean everyone else is going to think that highly of it. And that's just okay. Why I'm bringing this up, though, is just don't get your hopes up. Like, moon in Taurus squaring Jupiter in Aquarius is like, you might be like, oh, look at this accomplishment I did. And then Jupiter in Aquarius is like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. This is much more important. You're not doing it the way that we want you to. So on Saturday, do the work. You've worked really hard. Mercury, Mars, and Virgo. We're doing all the stuff right, and enjoy the fruits of your labor. You worked hard for that, but stop looking for other people for validation. You're never going to get it. Like you're going to be criticized, and again, criticism is good. But if you're looking for the validation from other people, I think your emotional investment into that will be worthless, and you won't get that return. I think you will be a little bit disappointed if you try to give your emotions to other people. And the other thing is too, the moon squaring Jupiter, it's going to be hard to like see things in a bigger way. It's going to be hard to see things where things can change. So it's just one of those days of, I think as the moon is now separated from Saturn, it's now away from Uranus. And then once it trines Mars, that's good. It'll start to square Jupiter. It will trine Mercury, which we're going to get to. But as the moon's kind of just chilling in Taurus, making that square to Jupiter, just relax. You know what I mean? Just do your thing on Saturday night. Don't try to make these big grand plans. They're probably not going to work out. Don't try to mesh all these things together. It's probably not going to work out. Just relax. But then we get into Sunday, and Sunday, moon's going to make that trine to Mercury at the last degrees of Taurus and Virgo. And then the moon goes into Gemini, and we, end the weekend. So Sunday, again, the moon's going to be, let's actually, rewind a little bit here. There we go. The moon's going to be trining Mercury at those end degrees. Mercury's in Virgo, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, moon trining Mercury. Getting organized, getting your shit together can create stability. These are Earth transits, right? We're talking about tangible, physical things. And the moon in Taurus trining that Mercury in Virgo is like, okay, for me, like I literally just like went through all of my tax paperwork and I just organized shit for like the first time in a long time. And I was like, oh my God, I just feel so much more even just comfortable and relaxed. And that's what this looks like to me, is like the moon shining Mercury. It's like when you, for example, for me, when I was younger and I'd go out and party, I would never look at my bank account. I was too scared of that. I was like, I'm just going to ignore problems and maybe they'll go away. They never did. And so because they never did, I started actually hyper focusing on them and being like, okay, what makes me feel confident is when I know exactly what I have and I know exactly where to put it and I know exactly what to do with it. It was overwhelming. And it was, specifically talking about money and finance stuff, having to focus on my finances and having to actually take off my programs around money and around scarcity and around fear and around being dumb to just live my life. That was a big challenge for me, but holy fuck, do I feel so much more confident? Do I feel so much more stable? Do I feel so much more clear about my life now that I've, gotten organized in an area of my life that I'm not used to being organized in, right? And this moon in Taurus trining Mercury in Virgo is like you getting clear about your situation, you getting clear and organized with what you have, whether that's just cleaning your house, getting rid of some shit that you have, or organizing your files. That's what's going to make you feel comfortable, right? And then the moon goes into Gemini and immediately starts going towards the North Node, where it's like, you organize your files like I do, and then you're like, oh, well, now I can do this, now I can do that. I have all these ideas. The moon in Gemini is real crackhead energy. Not to say anything about people who have natal moon in Gemini, but that sense of like, I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm going to look at this, I'm going to look at that. Very intense. Some people don't like it. I love that type of stuff. I'm all over the place, so I love chaotic energy. And as the moon goes into Gemini, it's like, how much more room for ideas and expression can you have when the stuff that you put on the back burner gets confronted? Handle your shit, eat your veggies, then you can have your dessert. Do your homework, then you can go and play. That's what Sunday looks like to me. We get to next week. I feel like it's been 30 minutes, but I feel like I'm blasting through this horoscope. Next week, Mercury enters Libra. I don't know if that's good or not. I have a Mercury retrograde in Libra video coming out. I'm working really, really hard on it. Like, it's super, super good. So I really hope you guys like it and watch it. But I'll do a whole video about the Mercury retrograde. Mercury's going to enter Libra next week. Mars will go opposite Neptune. Kind of like that. Kind of don't. I don't know how I feel about that yet. Mercury's going to trine Saturn. I love that. It's finally like getting the word across. Just like finally being able to reach on the other side of the aisle. But Venus squares Pluto next week, which, if you know me, you know I don't talk a lot about Pluto transits all that much. But this Venus-Pluto square is going to be our first Venus-Pluto aspect until Venus conjoins Pluto and retrogrades there for like 5 months. So I think you'll see a lot of those Venus retrograde themes begin as Venus makes that square to Pluto. But that's for a conversation to have next week. That's what I got for you guys this week. I have September horoscopes on my Patreon already. Went all the way through the signs. I meant to say that earlier. I always forget to push myself in the beginning. I always just go straight into the video. Anyway, if you want to know what's going on for September for you, if you want to know how this Mercury retrograde is going to affect you, become a patron. I have ad-free videos, and I have the whole monthly horoscopes on my Patreon. Plus, it helps support me in this channel, and plus, I can get better equipment and make much better content when you are a patron. That helps me make better content for you guys. So anyway, I'll leave you guys with that. With that being said, thank you so much for being here, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. I love and appreciate every single one of you, and I'll be seeing you next week.